Friends, if there is one universe in the world of horror films that has shaken the entire globe with its fear and mystery, it is the Conjuring Universe. And within this universe lies its darkest and most terrifying chapter, the Nun series, where we are introduced to a demonic force that disguises itself in the holiest form of humanity, the nun, only to strike fear into every heart. Yes, we are talking about Valak, the demon who didn't just haunt the walls of the church, but also carved a permanent place in the hearts of the audience, filling them with a terror that is hard to forget. That is why when The Nun released in 2018, theaters echoed with both silence and screams. The film told us how in 1952, at the dark abbey of Carta Monastery in Romania, a nun took her own life, forcing the Vatican to send Father Burke, an expert, and Sister Irene, a young but pure-hearted novice, to uncover the truth behind her death. But what they faced there was none other than the evil presence we first met in The Conjuring II, Valak. We saw Irene and Burke risk their lives to confront this demonic power, and though they believed they had banished Valak back to hell, the truth was far more horrifying. Valak had used a human vessel, Maurice, also known as Frenchie, as a doorway into the living world, ensuring its survival among us. Then came The Nun II in 2023, which dug even deeper into the story. This time we saw that Valak had taken complete control over Maurice, turning him into its pawn, to unleash destruction across different places. Once the church realized that this evil could not be ignored any longer, they once again turned to Sister Irene. Stronger and far more determined than before, Irene prepared to face Valak once again. But by now, the demon's power had grown beyond imagination. Throughout the film, we witnessed Valak trying to shatter holy symbols, desecrate faith, and create terror amidst blood-soaked churches, broken statues, and endless screams. And in the end, though Irene fought bravely to free Maurice and managed to defeat Valak once again, one thing became crystal clear. The demon was far from finished. Its spirit still lingered in the world, with a mission not just of destruction, but of enslaving human souls forever. And it is exactly from this point that the story of The Nun III begins. The update we bring to you today. Friends, believe me, this time the fear will be far greater than ever before, because Valak is no longer confined to one church or one person. Its eyes are now set on the entire world. The Nun III will open with the return of that same chilling dread, as a small European village begins to experience strange and horrifying events. Children start walking in their sleep at night. The church bells ring on their own. Villagers glimpse a dark shadow moving in the night. And the most terrifying of all, the nuns of the village start dying under mysterious circumstances. One falls from a window. Another is found inside the church covered in blood, while others simply vanish without a trace. The villagers soon realize that these are not the acts of humans, but the return of that ancient evil they thought had been banished. This time, Irene is not given just an ordinary mission. The Vatican itself calls her and reveals the reason why Valak always returns, no matter how many times it is defeated. The truth is that Valak is not just a demonic entity, but is tied to an ancient secret, a failed attempt made centuries ago by the church to imprison it. That incomplete ritual left a doorway open, allowing Valak to keep finding its way back into our world. When Irene learns this, she is faced with two choices: to step back, having already fought this demon twice and barely survived, or to dive deep into the root of its power and put an end to this nightmare once and for all. And so, friends, Irene begins a new journey. She seeks out Maurice, because she knows that Valak's power is still bound to him in some way. Maurice, who was once a simple and cheerful man, now appears broken and tormented, battling the shadows within him. He confesses to Irene that Valak's presence still lingers inside him. Sometimes he is normal, but other times his eyes turn yellow and his face twists into something monstrous. Irene realizes that if she is to destroy Valak forever, saving Maurice is the key. But the real horror of The Nun III begins when Irene and Maurice are sent to an ancient monastery that hides centuries-old secrets and manuscripts. There they discover the truth, that Valak was once a fallen angel who rebelled against God and was cast into eternal darkness. Yet its spirit was so powerful that it began to feed on human fear and sin, slowly regaining its strength. This is why whenever people give in to fear or stray from purity, Valak grows stronger and more dangerous. As Irene and Maurice venture deeper into the monastery, the terror intensifies. Blood seeps from the walls. The eyes of statues seem to move, and in the dead of night, Valak itself manifests to confront them. Irene fights with prayers and faith, but Valak's grip is so strong that Maurice keeps slipping back into its possession. And this is where the climax of Part 1 begins. The shocking revelation that the reason Valak keeps returning is because its true body is still imprisoned somewhere in this world. Until that body is destroyed completely, its spirit will always find a way back to torment humanity. In the chilling air of the cave, where the torches on the walls flicker on and off by themselves, and an eerie silence spreads through the darkness, Sister Irene and Maurice stand before an ancient door covered in blood-marked symbols and strange inscriptions. Trembling, Maurice whispers that it feels as if the door is calling him inside, his breath growing heavier as Valak's shadow begins to flicker once again in his eyes. Irene steadies him and says firmly that there is no turning back now. If they don't open this door and destroy the true root of Valak's power, then the entire world will be consumed by eternal darkness. And the moment they push the door open, a violent gust of wind bursts out, extinguishing the torches, while the echo of screams fills the chamber. Inside lies a massive hall, its walls covered in thousand-year-old murals depicting battles between angels and demons. At the center rests a black stone coffin, bound with heavy iron chains. As Irene steps closer, she realizes this is the very place where Valak's true body was imprisoned, but the chains are weakened, trembling with every breath as if Valak is already straining to break free. Suddenly, Maurice collapses to the ground with a scream, black smoke pouring from his eyes. Irene begins to pray desperately, but then Valak manifests in full force, its face still that terrifying nun's form, only now even more horrifying, its eyes burning like fire, its voice shaking the walls of the cave. Valak mocks Irene, declaring that she will never be able to destroy it because it was not born from human fear alone. It was once an angel who stood against God himself, and such a being can never be truly defeated. Irene, unflinching, challenges it back, saying that no matter how powerful the demon may be, faith and purity will always triumph. She pulls Maurice to his feet, and together they prepare to face Valak. What follows is a relentless storm of terror and tension. The cave walls drip with blood. Valak shifts into a monstrous form, then into dozens of nuns, appearing at once to surround Irene, each whispering threats to break her spirit. But Irene's unwavering faith keeps her from falling apart. Maurice too fights desperately to resist Valak's possession, though at times he completely loses control and even turns on Irene. But each time her belief and compassion pull him back. The true climax comes when Irene discovers an ancient scripture inscribed on the monastery's wall, revealing that the only way to end Valak forever is to destroy both its body and its spirit simultaneously. If even one survives, the demon will always return. Irene realizes this is their final chance. She tells Maurice that no matter what happens, he must draw Valak's spirit out of himself at the exact moment Valak's body is released from the coffin, so that both can be annihilated together. This becomes the most emotional moment of the film. Maurice, with tears in his eyes, confesses that he knows this could mean his death, that perhaps his destiny has always been to sacrifice himself to end this evil once and for all. Irene embraces him and assures him that he won't face it alone, that she will stand by him till the very end. Together they begin their final prayer. Valak, enraged, shakes the entire chamber, breaking the chains as the coffin bursts open. Valak's true body rises, grotesque and terrifying. At the very same moment, Maurice screams in agony as Valak's spirit tears out of him. Both entities merge into a swirling storm of black smoke. With all her strength, Irene ignites the cross in her hands and hurls it into the heart of the darkness. A blinding light floods the chamber, and with a deafening blast, Valak's existence is obliterated. But victory does not come without loss. Maurice collapses to the ground, his breathing shallow, life slipping away. Irene tries desperately to save him, but he smiles faintly and whispers that he is finally free, that his soul is no longer enslaved by Valak. With those final words, he dies in Irene's arms. Tears stream down her face, yet there is solace in knowing Maurice gave his life to save the world.